And we're just inside the game. We've got the first initial bans showing up. This is a run for the Reddit Dota 2 League. We've got a match between Orb Walkers and Torque.
5 seconds remaining.
And now we're going to get right into the first pick. Instant lock-in of the Darkseer. And then in response, immediately the Lifestealer and Nyx Assassin. Both sides knowing what they want, when they want it. This... Finally, just a little breather here on the second pick out of Orb Walkers. The 4 bans, Outworld, Devourer, and Io removed by Orb Walkers. Batrider and Visage by Torque. Yeah, I like the little adjustments. Certainly, Outworld and Visage, relatively common picks overall, but not typical for the first 4. So it's nice to see a little switch up. Get some of those always banned heroes popping up in these initial picks. Lifestealer sneaks through in this game. Actually, into reserve time for their second pick are the Orb Walkers. Started off with the Darkseer, safe and solid, and then Rubik. So going as pretty solid all around as you can get. Not tipping off their hand either way, but it is right now looking like a defensive tri-lane setup with Darkseer in the off lane. Here in comes the ban on the Nature's Prophet. Not going to want to be dealing with that. Teamed up with the Nyx Assassin in Viz. Could be an annoying little thing to deal with if you're ever isolated. Similarly to the Io ban already by Orb Walkers. Looking for a ban from Torque. Bane the selection. Just going for that removal of the typical Bane counter pick, the Lifestealer. Bane, multiple abilities that have at least partially go through magic immunity. Enfeeble cannot be removed by activating magic immunity, so activate Rage on Lifestealer doesn't dispel Enfeeble. Fiend's Grip can be cast right through magic immunity. It doesn't do the damage while the target is magic immune, but really you just want to lock down that Lifestealer. If you catch him before he rages, all the better. And then an Invoker ban. Maybe they know something that I don't. But another hero, we're not going to see a lot of global presence here. They're removing the global presence heroes. No IO TP ganks, no Nature's Prophet TP ganks, no Sunstrikes. Just don't want to deal with it. Would not be surprised to see an Ancient Apparition or a Clockwork ban next up out of Orb Walkers. Torque is a little more open as to their laning setup, I think. You know, Rubik, you can fit him into an aggressive tri-lane, but not necessarily the most typical since his disabled doesn't do damage in telekinesis, and Darkseer tends to like to be in that off lane. Even though you can certainly run him mid, and it's almost never a tri-lane hero. So, I mean, if it's off-lane, typically that means off-lane / jungle. So if you're jungling him, he's the off-laner either way. Gyrocopter then selected, so looking most likely at a dual carry setup for Torque. Gyrocopter will add that bit more late-game potential. Lifestealer falls off a bit later on. Monster through the mid-game, of course. So far, no experimentation, but normally you'd expect those unique picks coming later down the line in the last couple. Jakiro will be the secondary support, and that shores up the very solid defensive setup out of Orb Walkers. With the Rubik and Jakiro not going to be able to be particularly aggressive themselves, but also very difficult to attack into them. Torque looking to round out their lineup with a secondary support and likely a mid, but they may be looking at the gyro mid. If they want a defensive tri-lane, then that would be the case. But I meant anticipating an aggressive tri-lane now with Lifestealer, Nyx Assassin +1. The +1, we could see a follow-up stun, Leshrac, Lina, that kind of deal. Also, you could go Gyro Nyx as the aggressive tri-lane. Here's the Lina.
Dire team pick.
Now we throw it on back over to Orb Walkers. They still need to show us what they want to do with a carry. So far with the defensive setup, the Jakiro Darkseer, I am feeling Faceless Void. We'll have to see if they want to go that route, considering the amount of pressure that's going to be coming out on them. I don't think Torque is particularly hiding their hand at this point. Orb Walkers, same kind of deal in terms of their laning setup, but we don't know how they really want to run their cores. And that will indicate when they really want to be strong, mid-game, late game. We are into reserve time now. The reason I say Faceless Void, the hero common combination with that Chronosphere, of course, Vacuum helps group up as well. Shakiro's Macro Pyre over top. And again, a very defensive setup with Rubik and Jakiro. But Luna is the selection. So she certainly does have late game potential there. And will help shore up to some degree the strength in tri-lane versus tri-lane. Her aura going to do a lot of work in that regard. Only downside is she is a bit squishy early on. Not a whole lot of HP or even effective HP at level 1.
Remaining. Reserve time.
Final bans, Orb Walkers needs to select their mid, as does Torque most likely. Again, could be seeing a Gyro mid. Well, you could technically see any of these mid. Most likely Gyro, if one of these were going to be, would be it. However, consider this. Right now, Shadow Demon has made it all the way through. Torque could pick up the Shadow Demon, run the Nyx Assassin mid, and I think that would actually improve their aggressive tri-lane. But the Dragon Knight ban by Torque, and one more out of Orb Walkers.
5 seconds remaining. Reserve time.
So the mids out of both sides. Again, I would actually really like this little swerve they might throw in there with Shadow Demon if Torque goes with that for the last selection. Most likely I don't expect them to, though. Expect something more like a Puck. Something that doesn't necessarily need DPS, but a form of initiation for the rest of the team. Storm Spirit was banned, so that would have been an excellent choice as well. I'm looking for a bit more initiation. Of course, Nyx with Vendetta, perhaps, but can't really rely on him being able to get in there and do so. Orb Walkers may want some more DPS, something to help push through that mid-game. Again, there's a ton of mid-game potential in Torque, and they need a 1v1 laner if they're up against an aggressive tri-lane. So something that would go well up against that Gyrocopter. A Weaver, I believe, is still in the pool. It is, so I wouldn't mind Weaver coming out of Orb Walkers. So those are my two picks. Let's see, Puck out of Torque and Weaver out of Orb Walkers is what I'm hoping to see. But I would also be very glad to see something completely off the wall. Gonna have to wait and see as we're in reserve time now for Torque Sand King. So Sand King going to be the mid selection. Sand King has been picked off. It actually makes it really odd to me that they banned out that Dragon Knight, because Sand King is oft has been popping up more mid lately, but typically as a counter to other mid heroes that are melee with that caustic finale. But Juggernaut, there's that kind of early mid game presence and DPS that I was talking about. So that will make things interesting. I'll have to see which one ends up going up out mid. But first, we'll take a look at the Dire team. First up, we have on that last pick, Juggernaut. Have No Pity is headed initially down towards bottom, jukes me out, now headed up towards that safe lane and then back to Fountain. Taking a look at the off lane, we have Scaff playing the Darkseer. We've got a stand-in on the Rubik who will be supporting up top, along with that Jakiro, played by Duxie90. Stand-in Ride, I'm not sure if I actually said that. Then Luna being played by Faya in toward the mid. Up top, we've got 4 out of 5 out of Torque. Moving up, Mr. ABC leading the way on the Nyx Assassin, joined up by Brocrates on the Lifestealer, and then Wabu joining him on the Sand King, likely out toward mid. And then Lena right behind them. That's ridiculously Tiny P. Down toward bottom. Lastly, we have Fireblood Wolf on the Gyrocopter. All right. Should be fun lanes as everybody's hanging out here mid. This may be waiting to see if they can nab first blood here. Fire gotta be careful. As they take a few shots and don't get anything done with it. I'm not sure why this is popping up since spectator chat is off. How unfortunate. I came a little late in, so I'm viewing through Dota TV in this one. As it is, they're going to have to rotate up and have a bit of lost time. So it's going to be the Juggernaut, Rubik, and Jakiro up top against the tri-lane of... Actually, Sand King is going to be the support. So Nyx is out in toward mid. Not sure if that was a split a decision once they saw who was there or if they always planned it, but I can always support a Nyx mid. Always like it. Luna atypical, but it fits into the game here. Though I'm not sure I'm not sure which I prefer. Juggernaut has more survivability in this tri-lane. Luna's going to output more damage and would be able to do a little more with sneaking in a few last hits. But as it is, oh, there's a little impale. Just ends up being a bit of harass there on Fire. Takes quite a bit of damage when you include those tower shots. We got some creeps trying to be pulled, or perhaps accidentally pulled. As is, Nyx actually leading the way, Mr. ABC getting the better of this mid lane. Doing very well for himself, but he's still got to keep very close eye up here on top. Aggressive tri-lane. It's right there in the name, aggression. There's a nice path thrown out, but not really to any effect. Down bottom, Darkseer opting not to creep skip. Gonna hang out in lane. As such, he's not doing quite so well in CS, only 3 so far. Nyx Assassin bottles up a regen rune, as we see there. So far, not a single attempt to go on anyone, so, because really it's just been Juggernaut not trying to last hit so much and hanging out in lane. Juggernaut not really the target you want to go on. Can Blade Fury and just back up. But the support's not very far up, not really doing a whole lot of pulling, but here comes a pull. This is stacked camp. And in it goes. This will deny off some experience and perhaps force Torque's hand in this game. And make something happen. A nice path thrown out. Brocrates forced to rage to get away. Trying to steal some CS, but not effectively doing so. And this is where you're starting to force this tri-lane to get something done. However, what I can say for Torque is I like their laning setup more. They're going to be getting more out of this bottom lane, I feel, with the Gyrocopter, especially with how well he's doing in comparison. See a Dragon Slave over top of Have No Pity, who stops to drop a healing ward. Right-click the healing ward. There it is. Not microed there, so that's unfortunate for Have No Pity. Uses up his mana with that and doesn't really get the heal.
Don't burn your fingers.
Also really hurts given that his supports could use some healing as well. As I was saying, Gyro getting the better of this bottom lane, and overall Gyro going to do more with farm in my estimation than Darkseer. Not that Darkseer can't do plenty, but you're going to be relying on the team fights, his abilities, more than him having up the big items.
Green dudes, something bad is happening. In your bottom.
Nyx Assassin in towards mid against the Luna. Luna have much more late game presence than the Nyx, but if Nyx does well in mid, it does give him the chance to start to snowball, have a lot of that mid game presence, and keep the other team on their toes. Nyx in trouble as the rotation comes in. Spike Carapace stuns up the Jakiro for a moment. Go try fish him off. Eclipse used to ensure the kill, and that'll be first blood for Faya on Mr. ABC. And now on top of the CS board as well.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
That is a very nice kill there. And securing that Luna does well for herself, which she kind of really needs to early on. And now the support's going to rotate up back towards top, but we've got Vendetta with double damage on Mr. ABC. Good night, Ride. No, he doesn't go on. I'm going to go on Tuxie instead. No chance. He could have killed Ride if he felt like it, but playing it safer makes sure. Gets that Jakiro kill. Nice and easy with that double damage. And now bottles a haste rune. Hasted with double damage going on Faya. Charges in. There's the impale. Follow up. Right clicking. Can continue to chase with this haste rune. Mana burn as well. One more. There we go. Down she goes. That's 2 kills back to back following up that death from Mr. ABC. Not happy going down and turns it right around. Saying, I've got the better of this lane. Luna has a bottle, didn't end up getting that bottled haste rune, which costs her. But what doesn't help is, well, there's the high ground ward here, which is nice. There's no rune coverage, so no way of knowing that was coming. So far, 2 out of 3 kills have come in toward mid. Brocrates has gone Hand of Midas in this aggressive tri-lane. I can't say I agree with that. That doesn't fit my typical thinking. But his timing's not too terrible, all things considered. He has managed to get 28 last hits out of this lane. The kills have not been coming, though. Just the one out of the rotating Nyx who did it solo. Rocket Barrage set off there, but doesn't really catch Scaff at all. Also considering that the I would be curious what the thought pattern is. I'm wondering, it may be the thought that hey, we've got Gyro. He can help with the mid-game presence, the earlier timing. But here we go. Lift, followed up by the Blade Fury. Going to try and continue to chase, but rages and just leaves. And they don't get anyone out of that. Didn't follow up, and while that was happening, we see a kill in towards mid, trading each other. Eclipse used. What order was that in? So Mr. ABC gets the better of the exchange. He got the kill first. That means he gets the experience. But Eclipse able to finish him off. Ah, the action in two places at once. My arch nemesis. As is, we see the CS top 3 going the way of Torque. And there's an Impale, again, just harassing him up. So far, no points in Glaives. Sometimes you start to see points in Glaives at level 7, or level 8, sorry. But not just yet. Not just yet from Faya, also very typical to just max out that passive instead. More harass coming out, Mr. ABC being a giant pain. Some lag here. A lot of lag, in fact. As we see these heroes just sort of jumping around quite a bit. So hopefully that will correct itself in a short, timely manner. Oh, and while I'm being distracted by a lag, another kill by Mr. ABC in mid, and now at the same time up top, when I look at that, we get a kill up top. They're pulling me in every direction. I get the kill on the Sand King, trying to contest the pull, not working out so well. We now have score 4-3 at this point. Socrates does have his Hand of Midas up and running. As it is early on, we have the top net worth right where they want it to be. All 3 on top for Torque. We have a rotation in from Ride. But not really much of a gank attempt. Just going to show his face for a second. Probably continue down and get a ward up down toward bottom. This bottom lane, not a whole lot going on. Neither side has made any move. Not a whole lot of rotation either. A couple here or there, but so far we're stuck to these typical lanes. Vendetta once again. Oh, Faya, down you go. I mean, first time. Fool me once, can't get fooled again. Unfortunately, getting caught multiple times now with that Vendetta. I'm going to have to change things up. Level 8 versus level 11 now. On Mr. ABC's got that level 2 Vendetta. Going to continue to rotate. Does not have Vendetta. But there's... And walked right through the ward. So I'm not sure what's going on here with Scaff. But he's in a lot of trouble. Perhaps overestimating his ability to survive. And that ends up being a very easy kill. I am not going to be able to be there in time. Does have Eclipse available. But falling quite a bit behind. And overall, the team falling behind. An early check here. We're looking at 5,000 experience, 3,000 gold going the way of Torque. And in mid, that ends up being a kill immediately off of that Vendetta on Ride. In mid, the two supports hanging out. Wrong place to be hanging when you've got a Nyx Assassin on the board. And as we see a lot of confirmation, we've got a best of 2 going on. It's just continuing to be a menace, diving past tier 1 right here just a little bit. Takes a shot for his trouble, though. A couple of, in fact. Now we have the heroes moving in. Impale, but the lift is there, but not really any way to follow up this. A vacuum back. Misses the ice path as well. There actually isn't a whole lot of burst out of these three right now. And now Vendetta. This should be a kill. Ride, you're in a lot of trouble. If he can catch up. He's gonna follow this. Oh, gotta be careful not to lose him in the woods. And here we go. Down goes Ride. Doesn't even need anything beyond Vendetta and Impale. Now what do you do if you're supports? You just can't be alone ever. And even if you are alone, that may not stop him. May not dissuade him. As Have No Pity is forced to have no presence in the lane. Hiding in the woods here as 4 are up top. Duxie's hanging around, but may not want to hang around too long. Vendetta coming up in just a second. And here he goes again. If he knew he was there, he certainly would. But they're just going to bring down this tower. There's an ice path. Now going to chase him down. Impale not there. And a Dagon now on Mr. ABC.
Oh man, this is totally harshing my
Torque very much in a commanding lead right now. Mr. ABC cannot be contested right now. Going to TP on down bottom, and everywhere he goes is just about a guaranteed kill. A little low to use his full combo, but here goes Fire, Impale, and dead. Last hit actually goes to Fireblood Wolf. A nice donation to the Gyrocopter Fund.
Middle tower is under attack. Hey, you guys doing some great work. Forget about it.
Vacuum back in. Procrates take a lot of damage here from that Ion Shell. Infest, but gets caught by the Ice Path. Have No Pity able to finish him off. Actually, I think the Creep got the last hit there. Mr. ABC, very convenient regen rune. Pops it with Vendetta. I'm going to head on in. Have not been seeing... Oh, there is a Sentry Ward down here, so they could end up finally catching him out if he decides to go in. Oh, he goes around the Sentry, though. They don't know he's there. Goes on Scaff. Impale hits 3. Ice Path goes over top. Not able to finish him off. He has Dagon still available. Ends up not being used. Did not need it. Now the Impale on Ride. No, high ground. Cancels it for a second. There it is. And there's the Dagon to finish him. Down goes Ride. And that ends up being a full team wipe for the cost of a single support Sand King. And now going to pressure this tier 1, probably take it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
And another haste rune on Nyx. 8-2 now. Again, seeing a bit of lag coming out of Dota TV, unfortunately. Nyx hasted in. Goes. There's the Impale as we see a lot of lag, but able to get Have No Pity on that Juggernaut. As he just runs away hasted. Wabu 4. 4 observer wards on him. So the lack of vision going to be solved very shortly. FaZe Ocula and Helm of the Dominator. We see a chase out here on Brocrates long range. Tries to cast the Lucent Beam, but gets just out of vision, and there we go in Vendetta out of Mr. ABC, looking to have an Infest Bomb. Who is he gonna find? It almost feels like overkill, but the 4 are there, and they walk right into a Sentry Ward, and we have Omni Slash throwing out, but out pops Brockert. He's going to try and get something done. Fire not backing up, goes down to him. An unnecessary kill there. Unnecessary death there. And they get 2 for 1. And high value kills at that.
Invisibility.
Curious about that. Spectator chat box. Babu moving around and under invis. I don't feel like we've felt the presence of the Sand King in the game, not because of anything he's been doing or doing wrong at all, just because of how much presence we've seen, if only out of almost nothing but the Nyx Assassin moving around the map. Gyro quietly built up a lot, but we have a telekinesis and pull back. Lucent Beam as well. Call down going to hit everybody, but he's already dead. So another nice pickoff, and they're headed in the right direction. A long way to go still, as we have the Vendetta Nyx moving in. Looking to wait for them to come to him rather than he to them. As he is level 16 now, so he can, if he waits to the last second, be perma Vendetta. Just Vendetta, kill someone and immediately go back in Viz. Oh, started to go on fire, but chooses not to. Cancels it. Oh, he could... No, does not spot the courier. Could have had a courier kill there, potentially. Got a couple up pretty far. Got to be careful.
Bad dude's top tower gonna fall over soon. Radiant's middle
The discussion
tower
right now going on, since we can't get rid of the spectator chat, is on the item choices on Mr. ABC. Has not gotten a blink as if he has opted to continue to level Dagon. As we see him, Vendetta, hang on, down goes Ride. Doesn't even need the Dagon for him. And here it comes again. No, doesn't use it. Omni Slash not available. Not enough mana. And we actually had... Oh wow, that was a bit laggy. So Mr. ABC with the Dagon there. Saw Epicenter go out over everybody. See the cooldown. But as I was saying, on the Nyx Assassin, often in terms of the pro scene, you'll see them getting, you know, Dagon would be really uncommon on Nyx Assassin. Often seeing the big item on Nyx being the Blink Dagger for initiation with Impale. But the thing you can say for Mr. ABC here is he is a snowballing mid, and typically that initiation is when you never really get the chance to snowball because you're playing in that 4 or 5 role. As it is, Mr. ABC can just move around the map and get kills on anyone he finds solo, and even just as pairs of 2, he can burst someone down. And I didn't see if he got the impale on fire, but going to get both. And now Ride in a lot of trouble. Dagon not there. Stun actually lands on the Vendetta Mr. ABC, but he's not going to steal that. Instead, going to go on Scaff. There's the impale. Dagon not up again yet, so not able to burst him down. And 12-3 and 8 on Mr. ABC. Gold cleared the 10,000 mark with that. Experience over 20. Actually clears 12,000 with that. Over 20 now on the experience graph. Started to make a few good moves, but once again, so easy to get picked off at this point by the Nyx Assassin. We do have a smoke. Perhaps Fire going to play the bait. Ion Shell actually hitting the creeps. But they're going to find Wabu. Ice Path hits, and that's a kill. So they do get a kill out of that. Not the highest value target, but it's something. Now I'm going to try and push off of this. Got to be careful, though. Duxie has the sentries. Down goes a sentry ward there. Ice Path over top. Gonna catch Lena. Down she goes. Behind the scenes, though, Brocrates jumping right in, bursting down Duxie very fast. Macropyre does get down, though. Chasing out Blood Wolf, going to try and catch up to Have No Pity along with Brocrates. Are they able to slow him down? The rocket is going. Good, try and TP out before the rocket gets there. It's successful, so we're going to have a global rocket now. Over here, we have a hasted Mr. ABC chasing down Fire. Gets within melee range. Down goes the Impale. Can he burst him down? Gets very low. Down he goes with the Spike Carapace.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Flank ends up being very successful. Saw this earlier on. The gem on Mr. ABC going to help him avoid being caught out walking into sentry wards. Saw something stolen. I believe it was Spike Carapace. Can't really go wrong with anything you steal from Nyx Assassins here. Open wounds on Have No Pity. He's just going to Blade Fury and get on out of there.
Bad dudes, middle tower, everyone, go, now!
Very rough situation right now. Net worth. Luna, third on her team.
Top tower is under attack.
Sixth on the board.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Ding dong!
They're going to catch Brocrates. Vacuum back in. Goes Rages. Tries to turn this around on Ride. Are they able to finish him off? Ice Path going to go out. Nope. Able to be brought down. Jakiro gets the last hit. They're playing this one out scrappy. TP down bottom. Gotta be careful. Mr. ABC immediately going on that. Impale does hit. There's the mana burn. Dagon. Magic Wand going to keep him alive. Omni Slash goes out now. Mr. ABC. Ice Path does not catch. He's able to get away. Unfortunately, Omni Slash just about wasted there. Good attempt doesn't quite work out. Mech being built by Lena. What's coming out there for Luna? She has a dust being brought to her. There's another smoke used. Not sure where they're headed. We'll have to follow along to find out. Have No Pity leading the way. Gonna head not up to the enemy. Yes, up to the enemy jungle. Yes, into the enemy jungle. Wabu hanging out and Sandstorm there for a second. Interesting movements here. They are going to run into Brocrates on the low ground. No, ridiculously tiny P over top. But now Brocrates going to do a lot of damage. They bursted very quickly, though. The Armlet Toggle going to try and keep himself alive just a little bit longer. Rages to try and get away. The chase is on now. Omnislash is not up. There's a right click, but they're not able to catch him.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They get a kill out of that. The wall was used. So high price, but they get a kill out of it. It looks like Fireblood Wolf going to be working on an MKB. Picks up an Invis rune, going to head up toward top. Mr. ABC under Vendetta. I guess he just didn't spot that sentry ward. He walked over top of sentry range, though. Continuing to look for a target. Going to run out in 10 seconds. And just use it to kill that ion shell creep. He'll be able to go back under now. Not using it just yet. And we do have that Blink Dagger done on Mr. ABC. Still Dagon level 2 at this point. And it looks like they're just going to push down the tier 1. While Dire's pushing down mid. Not going to bother to try to defend that. Going to try and trade the tier 2. TPs are on everybody except Brocrates. Lifestealer without a teleport scroll. But I guess they're just going to continue to push here and trade. As it is, Dire pushing faster. They should just... are they going to continue to push? No, we are having TP backs now. There's open wounds on Have No Pity and then tries to right click down Scaff. Vacuum in, no follow up. Not using the wall just yet. So Sanj comes out. That's Sanj and Yasha out of Have No Pity. So Juggernaut moving at a swift pace when combined up with the drums. Aura on Luna. And that's Duxie bursted down very quickly. And a smoke coming out of Radiant. Though came out of smoke to take down that, to do that D ward, so not the sneakiest smoke ever as they try to move in to take Roshan, but now gonna try and go on fire. Bursted very quickly. She's down. Scaff now going to try and help bring down ABC. Call down over everybody. Laguna Blade used on Scaff brings him to half health, and down he goes. Now Duxie caught out. Another kill. That's 4 for 1 out of all of that. Apologize for the lag in Dota TV. We came in a little late, so weren't in the lobby for this one.
Ruh-roh, bad dudes, ruh-roh, middly widdly, gone all diddly.
Midas off a cooldown.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
You know you want to use your Midas. Creep wave. There it is. Midas. Midas. There we go.
Ruh-roh. Bad news.
And tier 3 goes down, looking for a melee Rax. No way to stop this. Going to be dead before they're able to get back up.
Dire's middle barracks are under attack.
And there it is. Next target, the raised Rax, and down they go. Are they going back up immediately? Yes, they are. And that's daggone 5. Mr. ABC. Down a Rax is going to feel even more of an uphill climb to try and turn this around in any way. 20,000 gold, 30,000 experience is looking in a near impossible position just by the numbers. And Faya, good knowing you. Down you go.
Another body laid to waste.
And Mr. ABC can burst anybody down on the entire team. Rashawn the target now. And no way to contest this. Luna down. And with the Aegis, this should be the impetus to push
So someone explain to me why
to
Radiant
tier
has
3
to
once again.
Immortality.
Actually move towards mid. Maybe they're going to go top instead of bottom. Up they go. Midas. Smoke is used. Midas. Midas. There you go. Alright. Still got 3 under smoke. But
Bad dude's top
Socrates
tower
showed himself, so they know they were smoke. Faya all alone. And once again, nice knowing you. No surviving that. Call down. We have a fight up top. Almost immediately dead as Darkseer. Now have no pity, in a lot of trouble. Gets very low, trying to Blade Fury away. And will be able to do so, but that leaves Wabu out to dry. I mean, his ride out to dry. Wabu gets very low. Lena gets very low, but everybody survives on the side of Radiant. Full team wipe during all of that. 1 bottom, 4 top. And Dire most likely just discussing what they're going to do next game.
Dire's
How to
middle tower is
adjust.
under attack.
Turn it around in game 2, because that's just about it. And we do have the GG called out of Have No Pity. Game 1 goes to Torque.
Dire's top
Mr. ABC leading the way. Snowballing Nyx, hated by all. And there's your final score screen. Torque taking game 1 in commanding fashion. Game 2 coming up in just a moment.